Hello, welcome to Ghost Prime Transformers Reviews. This video will be taking a look at War for Cybertron Kingdom Optimus Primal. Now, Optimus Primal first appeared in the early 90s in Beastwars. What a lot of people may not know is that originally Optimus Primal was going to be a bat, and there was actually a 2-pack of toys with a bat for Optimus Primal, and Megatron was an alligator. Unfortunately, I don't have that set, but in the comics, Optimus Primal was Optimus Prime. So in the show, they changed him to a gorilla and made him his own character, which I like a lot better. And this figure is a deluxe scale, he's a Voyager scale. It's very easy to get confused nowadays, but he is pretty decent. So without any further ado, let's get to the review. All right, starting off with the packaging. You have the new Kingdom box art here, and he has some pretty nice looking art. You can see the gorilla right up front and center. And then on the side, there's Primal right there. He's got his blasters kind of shooting. Cool looking. You got a volcano at the arc. It's actually on top of the volcano instead of in the volcano, which is kind of interesting. And on the back, you have Primal in both of his modes, the gorilla and Primal in the robot mode. Interesting that they actually stored his swords there in gorilla mode. On the top, you have the Maximal logo, the War for Cybertron trilogy logo. The bottom is not interesting. First, you get an instruction sheet in the box, which is done in the green, gray, and I guess charcoal more than gray. Pretty clear instructions, tells you how to do everything. You do get a random Kingdom card, and this one is, get that focused, Optimus Prime. Right. Stay in focus, and let's see what happens. We all pretty much know. Looks like it is a dead Prime, so Optimus Prime must die, I guess. But surprise, surprise, spoilers! Who saw that happening? You also get a couple of his weapons. You get 2 of these. And they have little pegs here, so you could peg them onto his back. 2 of these, and they both have silver paint on them and are cast in a blue. And of course, we get the figure. He is done up in a like a dark black. He's got white and red accents, blue. He looks pretty damn cool. He's got a lot of detail going on with the fur here. Let's do a quick turn. Small backpack. But it actually is not all that bad. He just looks really cool with the silver and the different shades of blue. There's even some paint right inside the chest there. If I get that in focus, right inside the chest piece, right inside there. They kind of went all out on the detail in this guy, which is really good. One thing I do note that these pieces here and his hips, these joints are blue and not red. I believe that red is the official color for it, or the actual color in the show, or in Beastwars originally. They changed it to blue, which doesn't look bad. It goes with the overall aesthetic, but just something to note. He's got his red knees and the little pistons down here at the feet. Now, getting in real close at that head sculpt, he's got some nice red painted eyes, molded lips, painted head crest, silver ears. Definitely a really nice head sculpt on it. It's not too thin, not too bulky. He looks really good. Here's a little close up of that chest, the paint in the chest, which I was mentioning. 2 separate blues, and the sculpted hair on the exposed animal parts. Really nice detailed. The abdomen, the crotch area, I guess. I mean, even the joints are detailed in the hips there. Really nicely done. Red, well done. It's got a matte gray sort of paint for the hand here. And blue paint and more of that matte gray. Overall, beautiful looking figure. Definitely beautiful. Now, as I mentioned before, he does have these swords, and they could fit in either hand. And if you look at here, there's actually a 5mm peg, and his fingers do open. And you could shove that in there, and it'll stay regardless of if the fingers are open or closed. So he could hold his swords. He also has place on the back. So if you look right there, right here, he has a little slot, and that's what these will peg into. So you could just, they've got them on both sides, so it doesn't matter. They're not specific to a side, and you could store them like so on either side. He also, if you take this piece, and he actually comes like this in the box, take this, partly due to transformation, pull that open. You could take the guns out. Close that all back up. And he has his shoulder mounted cannons right here. Also on his arms, if you look right here, there's actually a panel. And under here, it's kind of hard to see. It actually blends in quite well. There's a panel there. I'm going to use this. Take it, push that up all the way in there like that. On both of his arms, he has these little guns that come out. And these are actually on a hinge too. And one of the cool things about these guns here, they are, up more, they are compatible with the blast effect pieces, which is really cool, as are his shoulder mounted cannons. So that is a very cool feature. So before we get into size comparisons, do a little bit of articulation, shall we? So for articulation, his arms can go 360 all the way around. He has a little bit of clavicle movement right there. He's got shoulders go up all the way and down. He has quite a good elbow bend. Wrist swivel. I mentioned the gun pops out and has a little, it's articulated up and down as well. His head is on a ball joint, so it could turn all the way around. You look up a little bit. Not really down, but kind of more up and down movement. I think it's a ball joint at least. Feels like it. He's got 360 at the waist. His legs could go up this far. And then if you have this little flap, you put it like that, they could go back quite a bit as well. His knees, pretty good bend at the knee there. He's got ankle rotation, which is cool that he has the piston and the ankle tilt. A little bit up and down. And he's got these shin. And he can only go about this far. I don't want to force it. It's kind of a soft, it's not a hard press, but I feel like I could break it. So I'm going to just leave it at that. But overall, you get some pretty good, decent poses with this guy. He's not too bad so in that regard. So on to comparisons. All right, first up, let's compare him to the original, which we got to move these guys back because we just can't fit the frame there. There he is with the original Optimus Primal right there. As you can see, sort of, they have a lot of the same aesthetics. Now, I don't have the Masterpiece version of this, and that's what this design actually takes a lot more from than this one, is the Masterpiece. But you could see where this design overall came from. See how they look from the back, side, and the front. Here he is with Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. Get an idea how these guys look together. Here he is with the black combined form of Optimal Optimus. Quite a bit smaller. And because I think it says a lot for what they've done with this size, here he is with the Power of the Primes. Smaller robot of Primal there. So you can kind of get a good idea of exactly how these look together. Let's bring them a little closer. Kind of how you see their aesthetic. Some of them have, I mean, the head sculpt and everything is just much better. Much cleaner on this one. Of course, this one's not supposed to transform into a monkey. It transforms into a skateboard. Here he is with Earthrise Sunstreaker. He's a little bit bigger. And Cyclonus, same size class, or price point, I guess, nowadays. And here he is with Kingdom Megatron. So I think they look very good together. They definitely look like they fit in the same size class, kind of how they were in the cartoon. He was always much smaller. So I think this fits. They look really well together. They do look like they go nicely. Okay, now getting into transformation, he's actually not too difficult. So first things first, you want to take these pieces here, move them down, like so, covering the arms. Then you take his waist, rotate him all the way around. And then, so you take this piece. Now this is what gives me trouble when I first got it. And I was honestly kind of scary. You see there is a gap here, and you want to take this and just kind of grab his arms and pull it back. It doesn't, I don't know if you could tell, but see how it bounces back? It doesn't look like it really wants to go. You can hear that. It clicks, and it's really tough. I feel like I'm going to break it, but I haven't. A lot of transformations. So you want to take these guns. You can leave them out, but they're supposed to go in. You push them in here on either side. And you take the head section and you slide that up. It's on a peg, if you can see that. So you could like that and rotate it. Rotate that all the way around. And while it's out, you take the gorilla head, move that up, and it's on this little tiny piece there, and then that twists. And all these joints are actually very tight. Then you push that back down, take the chest right here, and you want to just spin that around and line the chest up. Take this piece here, push that in, head goes down, the arms up, and then go down to this back piece here, and that spins around. I'll leave that just up like that for just a moment while we take the legs here, and you take the feet, move them up, the toes up. I guess if you want, that's another point of articulation. He could move his toes up, but I consider that more transformation. Then you take his knees. His knees actually have two joints. So they have a joint here and a joint there. And what you want to do is you take it. These joints are ridiculously tight. Move it on the first joint up and around so you get this that sort of a stage right there. Same with this one. So kind of like that. Then you take the front flap. It doesn't actually peg in anything. It just stays like that. And then you kind of position the legs here back and up so you can get this kind of pushed down so you have a slope in the back like that. And now they don't peg out. They don't peg anywhere. You just kind of got to finagle it a little bit until you get it just sort of covering as much as you can on it. It won't cover everything. You move his head up, arms go out. Maybe you can move him a little higher up if you want. Drop the weapons. I always drop shit. So there he is in beast mode. So it's a quick look glance. You do see some, like the blue pieces here. The shoulders doesn't look too bad. This looks way worse in my opinion. And then you have the feet sticking out the back. But overall, I mean, it's kind of difficult to get to a monkey mode anyway. Successfully, and I think they do a pretty decent job. And you have a little bit of articulation in this. You have some swivel, which does kind of, break the colors right there to have it like that. Of course, you have the fingers, which I mentioned, just the same at the elbow, the wrist. The head actually could move down, move up pretty far. It does kind of separate a little bit, but you can move it up pretty far. And it's really cool that you can actually turn it so you can actually look a little bit like this. And that head, let's go take a look at this head sculpt. This is really nice. Just beautiful paintwork on it. Even the eyes, the pupils and everything are painted. It's just a great looking sculpt. They really put a lot into it. Even on the chest, the texture, he has like almost like a, I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Like a skin texture on it. It is a hard plastic, but it has a really nice texture on it. You know, same with everything, just really looks good. There is also a mode in the instructions that says that you could stand him up, and you kind of do that by taking the legs and moving them kind of in like that on both sides, which doesn't look right to me. Like broken knees, if I could even get this, because the joint is so super tight. Kind of goes like that, and you could just sort of stand them up. But I don't like it like that. I prefer it more like, I mean, it still looks like it's kind of broken knees, but it's not terrible. I think it looks better like that. So he looks okay in gorilla mode standing up. It's all right. I mean, I won't be displaying him like this anyway, so it's not too terrible. It works for what it is. One more piece of articulation I forgot. I don't know why they included it, because it really serves no purpose, is the toes can go 90 degrees down. So overall, he's okay in gorilla mode. Here he is with Kingdom Megatron, completely off screen. Get an idea of just how they compare together. Of course, he'd be much smaller in real life, but I figure that's a pretty decent size. He's actually a really nice big T-Rex. Take a look how he compares in size to the original. So he's quite a bit smaller, but he does share a lot of the same aesthetics, as especially in the rear end with the legs and how the legs are done up. But very, very similar here, the little toes in the front, which I didn't pull it out on this one. So we've got the toes there and the feet going up in the back, exactly the same manner. The legs being hid under a flap right here, same sort of situation. So I don't mind it too much. He actually looks a lot better. That's how they compare. And here he is with Optimus. Again, much smaller. Of course. Lastly, just to show you how he looks with his swords all stored up. And the slots there, if I could actually find it. So you can display them like this if you'd like. It is monkey with swords, which, you know, it's cool either which way you want to look at it. But overall, cool looking. So all in all, I do recommend this figure. He's very cool. I do like that they went with a realistic gorilla mode and have a nice texture for the fur on him. I think that's very cool. He has a lot of little gimmicks. I like the guns on the arms. I like the swords. He has a lot of those things, and the pop-out missile launchers. He has a lot of those things that that he should have. They really fit a lot into a very small package. Now, it may seem like, you know, he's a little bit expensive for what you get, but he's actually very well done. Very tight joints, decent articulation, great sculpt. A lot of care and thought went in this figure, so I can actually recommend him, especially if you're into primes and primals. Got some really cool things going for him. So if you like this review, hit that thumbs up button, hit the thumbs down vote button if you have to, ring the bell for notifications. I'll see you next time. You better ring that bell.